everyone. Thank you for being here today, for taking your time to watch our documentary Conversations with Youth, a documentary by Sinar Daily in a collaboration with Redcom and Arja Films. So this documentary was made to spark a raw conversation and have a honest conversation among Gen Zs who's raw conversations across generations and giving us a glimpse of hope, struggles and aspirations on Gen Z, on what they're having in their life, the mental health, what they should be talking now in today's world.
You know how is something mentioned in the documentary earlier, we are constantly bombarded with so much news that even without realizing it, because we're so desensitized to it now, like it's so normal, but you're actually getting information at such a rapid pace about literally everything, your relationships your hobbies or whatever, and it comes to a point that we are getting so much information that you just feel like, oh, I can't do anything about it, because there's so much. So when it comes to politics and bad stuff happening in the world, economy is crashing, rape is getting not legal, but no one is doing anything about it. Here in other countries, even the UK, it's stuff like that where you just see constant bad news, Palestine and whatnot, right? You just feel like, I can't do anything about this. What am I supposed to do? That kind of thing. Whatever small changes I make, is it actually going to make a difference? And I know it's such a bad mindset, but at the same time, your mental health gets worse because you're actually feeling like shit. You're like, oh God, the world is actually so effed up, right? So then you just stop feeling, and then you want to oh, okay, ignorance is bliss, so let's not think about it, that kind of thing. So it's very bad, but I feel like that is how, I'm not saying it's correct or people should do it, but I feel like that is what a good chunk of people are like, myself included, which is bad. I know I have to fix it, but it gets to care about social things, it's very hard because you need to be a bit stronger. If you're very easily affected by bad news, it's very hard to try to make a change, I think.
As an audience ourselves, we also have to learn to avoid ourselves from these hot topics. Not avoid ourselves from hot topics, but try not to be, write bad comments or everything. And if we really have that opinion or whatsoever, for example, we see people doing things and I don't agree, I disagree, I say it, and they don't listen, that's it, that's their problem. I say what I say, and that's it. So I don't think it's really that toxic. And audience ourselves, we have to learn to filter what we want. And the algorithm, everything, we can control what we want. So I don't think it's really that toxic, that bad for me.
They think that Indians only can do anything, but then Chinese also can do. The thing is that I used to be smarter during my secondary school time, but the Chinese people used to get jealous. So sometimes they talk in Chinese, I know what they're talking about me. So sometimes I have to avoid it. That's the only thing I can do. So yeah, that's the thing.
Because few months back, my own mom, I'm doing this for my mom actually, so yeah, my own mom received death threats, and also from, I don't know if I can say this, by Indian politicians as well. I don't know if you all heard about this Mandi Bunga issue. Yeah, that's my mom actually.
Okay.
Ibu Olivia is my mom. So these Indian politicians, they just didn't know about anything. They didn't come and investigate or do anything, but it actually made our business really bad. They were everywhere we go. Even I couldn't even come to college because my fellow students was recognizing me. Is it your mom? And just because it was about her business, people on social media actually created false nude pictures of me and my siblings, until the hate got so worse that we can't even travel abroad now. My mom is just so down, and she even asked me this thing is it okay if I this girl passed away, Aisha, this girl passed away. Yeah, it happened during that time. So my mom asked me, is it okay, will they say that I'm correct if I only commit suicide? And it felt so, because social media is extremely toxic. My photos came out in Telegram and Instagram. I couldn't post pictures of it. And yeah, I think the racism doesn't only come from other religions, I think it also comes from our own Indian people, because they just, politicians especially, because they only want fame and they don't investigate about nothing. And you can actually Google to see this. You know, Mandi Bunga con people about this. Yeah, Indian politicians speaking about my mom very badly, calling her a con woman on TV. So yeah, I think it is extremely toxic. And I hope people really, you know, when you see something online, you just cannot trust it, and you know, you cannot just go and comment shit on people. So I still have all this bad screenshots that made us, you know, like sleepless, we couldn't eat and all these things. So I just hope, like, when y'all see something online, don't just like it, don't just share it through social media without actually investigating it, because of it, I'm still having this anxiety and all to, like, you know, come out in public. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me to give some comments on this. There's a lot of things that were covered in that documentary just now, but if I may, I would like to touch upon two things. One is about the comparison of personality and characteristics of people from different generations. As you can see, I'm not from your generation. I'm not a boomer. I was born in the late 70s, so I should be Gen X. Right, okay. So one of the things that people like me growing up is, when it comes to in school and also when we're studying in universities, we definitely, I would say, people who are a bit more tough when it comes to handling negative feedback. You know, I grew up in a time in schools where public caning was still allowed. Teachers would, you know, slap you in the face in front of everyone, things like that. And then when I studied in universities, you know, I had professors who would throw away the papers, your assignment on the floor, and calling it trash and things like that. So nowadays, when you have people or teachers, professors over here also doing something like that or saying something like that, you guys would react. And I often, as the department head over here, I have to mediate, as some of you will recall in some cases. So my worry at times when it comes to, on my role, trying to, of course, we don't want things like this to continue. If there are better ways to do things, if you can be kind, be kind. But my worry is this: when we try to be overly kind or too kind to you, you are not prepared to face the real world. As in, you know, taking in negative criticism and, you know, very tough kind of comments from your superiors, from your colleagues in the future. So that is my concern in terms of trying to balance between, you know, trying to be kind and you know, generous when it comes to our comments, but also in terms of preparing for you for the real world. So that's one issue. The other one is, and this is a favorite issue of mine, something that we've discussed for many decades, about satu sekolah untuk semua, one school for all. In the ideal universe, yes, we would want Malaysia to have only one school system. And to be fair, our government leaders in the past, as recent as in the 1990s, have mooted the idea of having one school system. To the point of trying to create a system where one school premise can have coexistence of multiple school streams. So this was the concept called Sekolah Wawasan, which did not take off. Why? Because amongst our people in our society, there are hardliners who always want to maintain the status quo. Chinese school, religious schools, and so on. So that remains a stumbling block even until today. But what worries me more, if I can share this, if you don't mind me explaining something more in terms of my concern about now and also in the future. What becomes more of a challenge when it comes to education in Malaysia today is no longer about segregation in terms of ethnic groups. It's now a class society, class differences between those who are rich and poor, right? And it's not just between the Malays and the Chinese. It's not just within the Malay society. It includes also the Chinese society, right? The Chinese people, those who are a bit more from the middle class and so on, you would send your kids still to Chinese school. But those who are in the upper class and above, now the trend is amongst the upper class in urban areas, especially sending your kids to private schools, international schools, and so on. So that creates another layer of the problem when it comes to segregation over here in Malaysia. So obviously this is an issue that cannot be solved or discussed in just one sitting like this. But what I can say is all of us need to play a role to listen to different opinions as much as possible. You know, I hear a lot of opinions just now in the video and also during the conversation over here just now about a certain point of view about this and that. But I can tell you, you also have another layer in the problems that we have in differences of opinion in society along ideological lines between conservatives and also liberals over here in Malaysia. So that is another layer of issue that we have. So what we need to do is to open up, to acknowledge that there are differences of opinion first and foremost, and then to open our mind to discuss, right, in a civil way, because ultimately, right, if I may touch upon a feature that we have in social psychology, how you create a united society is for you to focus on superordinate goals, which is common goals that you have within the nation, within the diversity that you have amongst the people. And I think we have enough in common for us to pursue these superordinate national goals, right, that hopefully, as what was said just now during the documentary and also during the comment discussion just now, hopefully when your generation takes up the mantle of leadership of this country, things can move forward faster and better. Thank you.